If you have a lease standby letter of credit, SBLC, you may be wondering if it can be monetized. In this video, we'll explore the process of monetizing an SBLC, how long it takes, and the cost involved. We'll also explain what SBLC leasing is and how it works. Can an SBLC be monetized? The short answer is yes, but there are some questions you need to answer before moving forward. Question 1. Are you in possession of the SBLC instrument? Question 2. Do you have legal documents giving you control over the SBLC? Question 3. Has the SBLC been fully paid for before requesting if you can monetize it? Question 4. Is the SBLC unencumbered? That is it callable or verifiable? If you answered yes to all these questions, then your lease SBLC can be monetized either by selling it in its entirety or by taking out a non-recourse loan. How long does it take to monetize an SBLC? Monetizing an SBLC takes approximately 5 to 15 days. It involves converting the instrument into money, which can be done through a variety of financial instruments and procedures. Monetizing an SBLC, which is the process of converting the instrument into cash, typically takes about 5 to 15 days. The exact timeline can depend on various factors such as the complexity of the transaction, the parties involved, and the compliance requirements that need to be met. During the monetization process, the SBLC will be reviewed by a monetizer who will confirm its authenticity, value, and other details. Once the SBLC is verified, the monetizer will typically offer a loan amount based on a percentage of the SBLC's value. The client or owner of the SBLC can then choose to either sell the SBLC outright or take out a non-recourse loan against it. It's important to note that before proceeding with SBLC monetization, the owner of the SBLC must have legal control over the instrument, it must be fully paid for, and it must be unencumbered and verifiable. What is SBLC leasing? An SBLC is a standby letter of credit. It is a guarantee made by a bank or an SBLC provider on behalf of a client through a Swift MT760 message. This guarantee ensures payment will be made even if the client fails to pay. SBLC leasing is the process of leasing an SBLC to increase the confidence and creditworthiness of companies or clients seeking out loans. The issuing bank or SBLC provider alone issues an SBLC on behalf of a client to provide a guarantee of the client's ability to pay what is owed under the terms and conditions of a contract between the client and the beneficiary. How much does an SBLC cost? A standby letter of credit costs approximately 1 to 10% of the SBLC amount. The SBLC provider issuing the SBLC requires a fee, the SBLC provider's price, of between 1 to 10% of the SBLC amount before issuing the letter. This fee is paid annually as long as the letter is in effect. In some cases, the SBLC provider's price for a one-year SBLC can cost as much as 6.8% plus $1,000. How does an SBLC work? An SBLC, or standby letter of credit, works as a safety mechanism for the beneficiary and issuer of a loan. It is essentially a guarantee made by a bank or SBLC provider on behalf of a client, assuring the beneficiary that payment will be made even if the client fails to pay. Here's how it works. Let's say a company needs a loan to finance a project, but the bank is not convinced that the company has the creditworthiness or financial stability to repay the loan. The bank may require the company to provide an SBLC as collateral, which the bank can draw upon in the event that the loan is not repaid. In this scenario, the bank issuing the SBLC takes on the risk of guaranteeing payment to the beneficiary, typically another bank or financial institution. The beneficiary can rely on the SBLC as a guarantee of payment and may be more likely to provide the loan knowing that there is a backup source of funds. In essence, the SBLC is used to increase the confidence and creditworthiness of companies or clients seeking out loans by giving the loan issuer peace of mind that the loan will be paid back in full by the SBLC provider. How do you issue an SBLC? The client has nothing to do with the issuance of an SBLC. It is the duty of the issuing bank or SBLC provider alone to issue the SBLC on behalf of a client. The issuance of an SBLC, or standby letter of credit, is typically done by a bank or an SBLC provider on behalf of a client. The process of issuing an SBLC involves the following steps. The client first contacts a bank or an SBLC provider to request for an SBLC. The bank or SBLC provider then reviews the client's creditworthiness and the terms and conditions of the contract between the client and the beneficiary. If the bank or SBLC provider approves the request, they will issue an SBLC on behalf of the client. The bank or SBLC provider will then send a SWIFT message, typically a MT760, to the beneficiary confirming the issuance of the SBLC. The beneficiary will then verify the SBLC and confirm its authenticity with the issuing bank or SBLC provider. It's important to note that the client does not issue the SBLC themselves, but instead, it is the issuing bank or SBLC provider who does so on their behalf. In conclusion, standby letter of credit, SBLC monetization, is the process of liquidating an SBLC by converting it into cash. To monetize an SBLC, the owner of the instrument must ensure that they have legal control of the SBLC. It has been fully paid for, and it is unencumbered. Monetization of an SBLC can be done by selling the instrument in its entirety or retaining ownership and taking out a non-recourse loan. SBLC providers usually charge a fee of 1 to 10% of the SBLC amount, which is paid on an annual basis. SBLCs are used to provide a safety mechanism for the beneficiary and issuer of a loan and increase the confidence and creditworthiness of companies or clients seeking out loans. Overall, the process of SBLC monetization takes approximately 5 to 15 days, and it can provide a viable source of financing for various projects and investments. If you or anyone you know wishes to monetize their SBLC or acquire an SBLC, do contact us today. We at the Wimslow Group have over 30 years' experience in the financial sector and have helped hundreds of businesses get financing for various projects over 3 decades. We look forward to working with you.